Hey guys, welcome back to Little Mitch Stitches. I'm Stephanie and today we're going to chat about what to pack for a trip. I just came back yesterday from a trip to Arizona from New York with my family, and I'm notoriously an overpacker when it comes to my knitting. I tend to pack things that I don't wind up actually working on at all. So I tried to be really intentional this time. Before I talk about what I did bring and what I did work on, I want to talk about what didn't make the cut. I was thinking that I wanted to bring some things that maybe I could finish and wear while I was there in case of chilly nights and whatnot. I didn't wind up doing that. I did bring my Soundside sweater. It is fingering weight and a mohair held together with a fun little sleeve detail. You can see mine is well loved because I have to fix this. My edge here is coming apart. My bind off ripped, I guess. But I wore this every day. It's cool in the mornings in Arizona right now and in the evenings. And the middle of the day is really nice and warm, which is quite the contrast that New York had 12-degree weather while we were gone. So I was really glad to be there this past weekend. Anyway, this is a pattern by Media Peruana Designs. And this is one of my favorite sweaters. I don't know, I wear it probably once a week at least. I did spill a little bit on it, so I have to wash it now. But she is also coming out with a cardigan version of this, I think, soon, and I'm probably going to have to make that too. Anyway, this was the only sweater that I wore while I was there. We'll put that back there. So the sweater that I thought about bringing to finish was my Affinity sweater, which I started like a year ago, 2 years, a year and a half ago maybe, I don't know. It's been done forever. It just needs to be blocked, which I did block the pieces. I think I need to re-steam one of the sleeves. I don't think I got it quite as good as I would have liked to, although I'll probably completely block it after I seam it together. But anyway, it needs to be seamed together, the ends woven in, and the collar put on it. But I was thinking I probably wouldn't have enough opportunity to really sit down and seam it, so I wouldn't get to the collar, and then I'd never even wear it. And so what's the point of bringing all these pieces with me if I'm not going to wear it and basically make some room in my luggage by wearing it? So this one got nixed. I was really hoping to get that finished, but I'm glad that I got it blocked and ready to go because now I can work on that. Part of my dilemma was I just finished a big project that was a test knit of a sweater, and I was a little bit floundering for what to work on the past week, forgetting that I had this sweater, which I thought about for 2 seconds bringing, but no, too many balls of yarn, too much going on. This is a pattern from Lion Brand. It is a skull sweater, so it's very boxy. I don't know if there's any shaping because I haven't gotten that far yet in terms of armholes, or if it's just going to be like dolman sleeves. I don't remember. But this is something I pick up and put down every now and then, and it's just some intarsia. And I just figured there's too much going on in this one. I need things that are easy to pick up and put down. I'm chasing the kids around. I'm on an airplane, traveling in the car. So this one didn't make the cut because it has a lot. I have a lot of skeins and bits and bobs that are with that. Charts, forget it. The other thing that I probably could have brought with me, but I chose not to, was my Angela cardigan. So I bought this yarn in Arizona when Jax was a baby at what I consider my local yarn shop in Arizona, at Tempe Yarn and Fiber. They had done, I don't know if they still do this, but they were doing every year in November or December a little local makers market in their yarn store, and they would host there. I know there was a soap maker, they would host some dyers, and this was a dyer called Gherkin's Bucket, and I bought two of her, they were like mega skeins. Each skein was light fingering, and it was 750 yards, so I only had to buy 2 skeins of yarn, but they were massive yardage to make this. So this is a sweater that had been in my favorites, but they had it on display at the shop that day, and I just had to get it. So it's a mesh sweater crocheted. There is also a knit version. I can't find the sleeve. There it is. It's very oversized, and the reason I didn't bring this is, one, I feel like I need to block this and really stretch it when I block it. It's really supposed to be big and drapey and oversized, and it is oversized, but I feel like with blocking it'll stretch some length into it. The only thing it needs is the blocking and the ends woven in, and this whole sweater is done. It has been done for quite a while now, and it's just sitting in a bag because of blocking and weaving and ends. Story of my life. But the other reason I didn't bring it is because I was a smaller size when I knit this, when I crocheted this. And while it's great that it's an oversized sweater, because hey, that always fits, the sleeves are a little snug on my arms. And I feel like I could probably work that out in blocking. I'm putting the wrong sleeve on the wrong arm, but it's just a little snug. And I was thinking, if I wind up wearing a long sleeve shirt, which I didn't. This was like the longest sleeve shirt that I packed. I only had 2 long sleeve shirts with me. But I thought it's going to be really awkward, or my oversized t-shirts that I've been wearing. I didn't think it would really go with the clothes that I was packing. So even though this is one I could have totally finished and worn while I was there, it didn't quite go with the clothes that I was packing, so I didn't think I would wear it. So this got nixed. So those were the 3 things I was thinking of bringing with me that I didn't wind up bringing with me. Part of my goals was to find some things that would be maybe moved out of my luggage by the time we left. And I did do that with one thing. Around before Christmas, I came across this little project bag. I think I was looking for an empty project bag to use, but there was something in here. And I don't have the project in here to show you because I finished it and passed it on to the recipient so it can go in his luggage. So this is some Forbidden, I think it's Forbidden Fibers now. It used to be Forbidden Woolery. Forbidden Fiber Company in her yak base called Babel. And the color is Hermione. And this was, when I first started my podcast last spring, I was working on the Chirp socks as a test knit for Joan Forgione of Paper Moon Knits. And the test knit only required 1 sock to be done. So I did only finish 1 sock, but I was mostly finished with the second sock. And why on earth did I abandon this project? I had not even one full repeat of the chart left to do before doing the toe. What on earth? So I finished that, wove in the ends, passed the socks on to Kyle, had a little photo shoot, and that was that. So that was one project out of my bags. I'll probably use the leftovers to knit one of the kids' socks. I'm not sure if I have enough to do a pair for Jax. Probably not. I'll probably make them for Benji. The next project that I brought was a pair of socks. Both socks are on the needles. They were supposed to be Christmas gifts that did not get finished. My intention was the 1 sock that is already past the heel would be just that simple sock that I would leave in my bag that I could pick up and put down and knit on the go wherever we were, which worked out great. And then that's still in my backpack, which is my purse. I didn't take it out because it's the same thing as the other sock. So the other sock I brought was up to the heel, ready to be started. And a dilemma with this sock was I wanted to get the heel flap and the heel turn and hopefully the gusset done, so that it could also be a brainless project, mindless, could just knit on the go. That didn't happen. So first, I knew when I picked up the sock that I had started the heel flap and ripped it out for some reason. I could not for the life of me remember what it was, but I figured, okay, it's already ripped out. It's good to go. I knit the whole heel flap, part of the heel turn, and then I remembered the reason I ripped out my two to 4 rows I had done of the heel flap was because on these socks, they're not striping, but they're this like color transition fade. This is Patton's Croy FX. I didn't want to use the yarn to knit the heel because it would have a jarring look right here as I picked up to do the rest of the foot. When I've used that section of the yarn, instead of continuing the transition, it would be all back here and be all kind of like right there. And that is a technical term. What I meant to do was pull from the other end of the ball and knit the heel flap. And that's what I didn't do. So I knit all of that and then ripped it out. But I did re-knit the heel flap correctly. And I did pick up the stitches for the gusset. And I didn't finish decreasing the gusset yet though. But that's okay because it's still pretty simple to use. So both of the socks from this project got worked on at various points in the trip. My pinky on my left hand has been hurting a lot lately, and I think that's because when I wasn't working on my sweater, I was working on socks. And the way I hold my needles, and you can see it even better let's pull my needle out actually. You can see it even better from your side than my side, is that I hold it like this when I'm knitting, but I'm using these fingers and my pinky just stays like this, really tight on these tiny needles, and it hurts. It's hurting right now, like just slightly hurting, but enough that I can feel it. And convenience of being married to a myofascial therapist is that I have Kyle stretch my hands frequently, but I didn't want to work too much on the socks because I knew my fingers were hurting and that was making it worse. So I didn't think that I'd get those socks done. I did want to get the purple socks done, and I did. And that was it for socks. So I figured these were more my on the go, in my bag as we went out and did things kind of projects. So that's 2 projects that I worked on. The next project that I worked on was this sweater that I knit for Jax. I knit it for him 2 years ago. He wore it for Thanksgiving 2 years ago. And it was great. It was a little big on him then. Perfect. He'll grow into it. Well, the sleeves were a great length because I could cuff them when he was younger and they still fit him now. But the body was a little awkwardly short. So I ripped out. The body ended halfway through this color section. And so you can kind of see that the colors are different. They're definitely more vibrant here than they are here because I throw this in the washing machine. I'm not gentle with my kids' stuff usually because they aren't gentle with their clothes, so I'm not gentle with washing them. But this is a mini skein set plus an extra skein, an extra mini skein that I bought from Lambstrings Yarn. You know, she is my favorite. Yeah, so I saved the extra bits. This is what a lot of my mini skeins look like. I still had a decent amount from them. I hadn't used this up, so I figured, perfect, I can add to the bottom and make it a little longer. And that's what I did. So this one was done, but I didn't weave the ends in yet. So I still have to do that. Some of the colors, I don't have ends to weave in because I did Russian joins, just because I was running out of yarn. Each of the stripe sections was 13 rounds. This one didn't make it to 13 rounds before I ran out of yarn, and neither did this one. And the ribbing section, I just did it by measurement. I didn't count rounds. So I did do some Russian joins just because I was getting close to running out, or I ran out like a couple inches before the end of a round. I just threw in a Russian join. So this got done, and that's good. And I brought with me also some other Lambstrings yarn that I had left over from a project a few years ago. I was going to swatch with it because I want to knit a sweater with my Advent set. And I figured I have this extra yarn. It's a good amount that I can swatch with. It's the same base. But I didn't get around to swatching. So that is one failure that I didn't wind up doing. I did finish the sweater though. Okay, the next project was one of my airplane projects. So I worked on this on the airplane on the way out to Arizona. It's in a bag that I bought at Michael's years ago. Every day is a good day to crochet. This was my crochet project. I am trying to use up the yarn that I have left over from those little Easter bunnies that I crocheted the boys for Easter, the little peeps. I'm using up all those leftover colors, and I'm just crocheting hexagons. Granny style, solid granny style hexagons. And once I've crocheted all the yarn into hexagons, I'll figure out my layout of colors, and then I'll go to Michael's and buy some acrylic to use as a border. But this is just kind of my mindless project. I actually just had COVID. Came down with COVID on New Year's Eve. Hooray! Happy New Year. That was great. So when I did have energy, all I worked on was these crochet hexagons because I really didn't have the brain power to focus on anything. And I had literally just the day before finished my sweater test knit. So I hadn't started anything new and I didn't really have anything going on. Hi, Chili. Welcome to the podcast. So I did crochet a bunch of these on the plane and I thought I would work on it again on the way home, but I wound up not. I figured it was a nice, small, easy, repetitive project. I didn't have to look at a pattern. I was supposed to, on the flight out, sit in between Jax and Benji. Benji sits in his car seat and Jax would sit in the seat. We have a car seat that we keep in Arizona for him. But our plane wound up being so empty. It was supposed to be the three of us, and then Jax would be on the aisle, and Kyle would be on the other aisle seat in the next section. And there was supposed to be people in all of the seats. And I don't know what happened, but our flight was practically empty. So it was me and Benji, and then Jax sat with Kyle on the other side. So I thought that I would be entertaining Jax a lot and entertaining Benji a lot. So I didn't have to deal with Jax. Kyle took care of him. And Benji did pretty good. It was his first flight. I had to entertain him a little bit. I did give him my phone for a little tiny bit so he could watch some Sesame Street to keep him occupied. He got a little antsy, but not too bad. He did really good on the flight out there. Anyway, back to this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I crocheted 7 of these on the flight out, and I have one that was in progress still with my crochet hook sticking out of it. And then I didn't touch it the rest of the trip. I did pack this in my bag to be accessible for the flight home, but I didn't wind up crocheting on it. On the flight home, I did wind up having to entertain Benji a little bit, and I had a knitting project that I wound up working on instead. So that project is leftover yarns from a vest that I knit myself years ago. That was from Spud and Chloe. The yarn is Spud and Chloe sweater. And I don't know where the vest is because it doesn't fit me. It doesn't look good on me. Definitely doesn't fit me now because I've gained weight since I made it. But I figured I was going to rip it out and use it, but I don't know where it is. So I have a full skein of the blue yarn. That was the base of the sweater. Don't mind the debris all over it. And then the contrast colors, I have partial skeins of each of those. And then I don't know how much was in this blue. I should have weighed it before I started. So that's what I started knitting with. And I was really hoping to make a lot more progress on this project than I did. And I made a mistake and I had to rip it back a little bit. I'm in the middle of picking up the stitches to rip it back. But I was just knitting Jax's sweater because he doesn't have any sweaters that fit him right now. And I'm ripping back because I used the wrong color. So what I'm doing is every time I have to change colors, I am using a die. I'm rolling a die so that it will determine whether I'm knitting 1 through 6 rows, however many I get, so that it will kind of randomize the stripes. So I have to actually see if he still wants the sweater, see if the top fits him so far. But I couldn't do that on the flight, so I just kept knitting. I figured whatever, if I have to rip it out, look, I have to rip it out anyway because you used the wrong color. So that was a project that I was working on a bit on the plane. It was nice, stockinette. I could watch my phone while I was knitting, and then when I gave my phone to Benji, I was reading on my Kindle while I was knitting on that because it was just stockinette. Probably why I picked the wrong color up. So then the last project that I brought with me was my little Hexie Puffs that I have been working on for like 10 years now. Someday I'll have enough to make a blanket. But I made one Hexie Puff. It's a little oblong looking. And partially got through a second one. Not even halfway. And that was it. I packed so much yarn because I thought I was going to be working on these on the plane because they're small, easy. I have the pattern memorized. I brought so much yarn with me. I brought a little bit of stuffing. So I stuffed my Hexie Puffs with like scrap yarn or little bits that I cut off. It makes them a little denser than if you use polyfill, so it'll be a really warm, dense blanket someday. And yeah, I didn't work on this one very much. This one's, I mean, I worked on it, but it was still kind of a fail to me. Part of what I packed was some of these leftovers. I don't remember which colors I was going to use. Oh, this one. These ones I was going to use. I was going to knit some patches for my overalls that I've been wearing. I don't like the holes in my pants. I guess I'm a crotchety old lady now because I don't want holes in my pants because it's winter and I'm cold wearing them. And so I was going to just knit some patches that I was going to sew in. I don't remember what this yarn is. The dyer doesn't dye anymore. I bought this when I was in LA a few years ago. But this one is Nameless Yarn Company. I bought this at the Long Island Fleece and Fiber Fair. I think they renamed it. I don't remember what it's called now. But it's our local teeny tiny fiber festival, and she is a local dyer. She's a new, very, very new dyer. And there's no color names. This is just this color, which I really liked. Jax helped me pick it out. So I was going to use this for one of my patches. But I obviously didn't knit the patches, and only knit one Hexie Puff while I was out there. So that was it. So that's everything that I worked on. I worked on pretty much everything. I mean, I brought some yarn that I didn't wind up doing those little things, but you know. Then the other thing was, like I mentioned before, my local yarn shop is Tempe Yarn and Fiber. When I'm in Arizona, I almost always make a stop there. I think there was one time that we went to Arizona 2 months in a row when Kyle was doing some trainings out there. And I don't think I went to the yarn shop both times, but I try to go every time we go. The first time we went to Arizona, I was thinking, I'm going to go to all these different yarn shops. There were so many yarn shops then. I think I overheard them saying at the counter to another customer this trip that there are only 2 yarn shops left in the Phoenix area. I don't know if that's true or not. I think that's what I heard them say, but I noticed that a lot of them were closing the last time I was there, and I haven't been to Arizona in 3 years. 3 years. It was 3 years this past fall. So, yeah, so we went to the yarn shop, and there happened to be a trunk show that day, and that's kind of why I wanted to go that specific day. I figured I get to see the yarn shop and see a new dyer to me. So we went. Kyle and I went in and left. Jax and Benji were asleep in the car with my mother-in-law. We were on our way to the zoo that day. So we went in, we checked out the trunk show, we walked around. I love that they label what's local, and they do try to carry a lot of local stuff. The last times that I was out there, I let Jax pick. They didn't have mini skeins at the time, but they had these like half skeins from Sundial Yarns. So this time they did have mini skeins, and Benji I picked this one out for Jax because purple's his favorite color, even though it's kind of pink. But Benji pulled this one out of the basket for himself, so I feel like I'll use these for the boys as like cuffs or toes. They're only 10 gram mini skeins from Sundial. And then Kyle picked out a skein of sock yarn from the trunk show, which was Desert Panda Fiber Arts. I had never heard of this dyer before until I saw that they were doing a trunk show. So I followed them on Instagram like 2 weeks ago or so. And this is the color that Kyle picked out. Kyle wants socks in this color. And he just happened to pick up a skein. He didn't look at the labels. He didn't see anything. And of course, he picks out the cashmere sock yarn. That is his favorite. Although right now he's probably wearing them today, the yak socks. So we'll see the review on those. She did have yak sock yarn also in this color, but he chose to go with the cashmere. I think he liked how it felt better. So this is the colorway Arizona Sunset and Saguaro Cactus. I don't know if I'm saying that right, as the mini skein. And this was the trunk show special. Unknowingly, he just picked it up. He did almost want, there was like a Halloweenish colorway, and he was really deciding between the two, but this was the first one he picked up, and he went with it. It is pink and orange and purple. I don't know what possessed him to pick this one up, but hey, he's getting socks in this. He's all excited for these socks, but I told him that he can be excited until Christmas when he probably will get them. Because I did give him the purple socks already. So he's gotten a pair of socks for Christmas recently and those purple socks. So he's good to go, I think, for a little while. I have socks to make for other people who didn't get socks for Christmas this year. So, and then I'm always making the kids socks because their feet are growing fast. Benji's feet are growing fast. So that is everything. That is what I packed, what I didn't pack, and what I actually worked on this trip. I'm getting better. I definitely could have left some of this home, for sure. But I'm getting better at condensing my packing. I limited it, kind of. Are you a chronic project overpacker like I am? What have you worked on a trip lately? Because I need some inspiration, even though I have these sweaters to finish over here. I don't know. I just feel like I'm in a project funk, a pattern funk. I'm trying to get through some of my stash here, but I still need some more inspiration. I need some projects to cast on because I feel like, I don't know, I probably shouldn't be casting on anything, but I still wanted some ideas for what I should cast on. So are you a chronic project overpacker like I am when you go on trips, or do you keep it pretty condensed? I feel like I kept it pretty condensed. We were gone for 6 days. This is what I took for 6 days. I don't know. I think I overdid that. I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on it. All right. Until next time. Goodbye, guys. Oh, it is? A little baby one? Aww. Where's your yarn? Where is it? Where's your yarn? Let me see. The face he made. Cheers. 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 Bye-bye.